Motivation plays a very important role in any of the process, be it on a personal level or a business level. These are some intangible forces, or you can say motivators, operating within an individual. Every person has his unique motivator. Some person may be motivated through monetary incentives, some may be motivated through any kind of emotional assistance. So there are these forces operating in an individual which impel him to act or not act in a certain way. Now there are some components of motivation. 4 basic components of motivation are needs, desires and expectations. Needs, desires and expectations. Behavior, goals and finally feedback. So these are the 4 important components of a motivation. Means all these things club to make someone motivated. One is your need, desires and expectations, then how the person is behaving or is garnished to behave from his childhood, then the goals and how he achieves feedback from others. So this is a basic introduction of motivation. Now we are studying this from business perspective, so you need to understand that there is a clear relationship between motivation and performance, because then only emphasis is being laid on this concept, because it puts a positive impact on performance, which is again tried and tested. Generally we say that performance is equal to level of ability. One, how much ability a person has to work, multiplied by level of skill. Means apart from ability there has to be skill of working efficiently. Then you multiply it with motivation, the level of motivation a person is getting, and lastly knowledge of how to complete the task. Knowledge of task and facilitating conditions which are not under one's control. So you can write it as facilitating conditions. So to judge the performance of an organization or an individual, the formula, you can say the aspects that are to be considered is the level of ability, level of skill, the amount of motivation the person is getting, knowledge of the task, and lastly the facilitating conditions which are not under the control of an individual. Maybe the relationship from peers, the comfortability with the work. So there can be anything which are not under one's control. So all this helps to understand the performance of an employee. So it is clearly seen that performance and motivation are directly related. Means the more a person is motivated, better would be his performance. Coming to types of motivation. There are generally 2 broad categories, which are extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic are based on desire for external rewards. Every person has this desire to gain external rewards such as earning money, winning pride, etc. So, these are extrinsic factors in which you need a person expects some reward from the external environment, and then there are intrinsic types of motivation which are based on inner desire to do something. For pleasure. Many people find pleasure in the any work that they do. So, this means they are intrinsically highly motivated to work. So, motivation, there are two kinds of motivators, extrinsic and intrinsic. Now, understanding the types of motivators, there are several strategies of motivation that can be adopted to motivate someone. The very first strategy is of positive reinforcement. Second is effective discipline. Third is treating people fairly. Fourth is satisfying employee needs. Satisfying employee needs. Then is setting work related goals. Restructuring goals. And lastly, base rewards on performance. So, these are several strategies in which someone can be motivated. Motivation theories. The theories can be broadly categorized into content theories and process theories. Your content theories deals with what motivates people. Means after understanding the content theories, you would be able to understand those factors which actually motivate people, and the process theories tell us that how motivation occurs. Means it focuses on the entire process of motivation. First, we will in detail discuss the content theories of motivation. Now, there are several content theories given by different people. So, content theories focusing on what motivates people. First one is your Abraham Maslow's need hierarchy theory. Now, Abraham Maslow said that the human needs can be categorized into several groups which follow a particular hierarchy. Means when the lower needs are satisfied, the person moves into higher needs, further to higher needs, and so on. So, the lowermost need which he said is the physiological needs. Above these are your safety needs. Means he said that this particular pyramid is applicable for all human beings. Then is your love and belongingness needs, self-esteem needs, and the most superior need which he stated is of your self-actualization. He said that once these needs are satisfied, the person jumps to these needs, then to these, then to these, then to these. Means he said that there is a particular hierarchy that our needs follow. So, in this way you can motivate a person. Suppose if a person is already satisfied with these two needs, so there one should think of those ways where in which this particular need can be satisfied, and once this is also satisfied, then you move further. So, means this hierarchy needs to be followed as said by Abraham Maslow. Then another person who gave one of the content theories of motivation was your Alfred gave ERG theory of motivation, in which E stands for existence, R stands for relatedness, and G stands for growth. You can say this theory is very much related to the need hierarchy theory. We will see how. Under the ERG theory, there are three main components. So, he said that basically there are three needs which includes your existence needs, then there is a relatedness, and finally there are growth needs. He said that existence needs and growth needs are somewhere related to each other, and there are certain factors that play a role in the reverse order too. Now, he said, now in this diagram, the arrows that are completely black, they are signifying your satisfaction, or you can say progression, and the arrows that are dotted, they are showing dissatisfaction or regression. Means through this diagram they have tried to explain both the positive relationship as well as the inverse relationship. Now, to get a better understanding of the ERG theory and how it is related to the need hierarchy theory, you can see that the existence needs are actually the physiological and safety needs as given by the previous person, which is your Abraham Maslow. So, it includes physiological and safety needs comes under your existence needs. Then your belonging needs, relatedness covers your belonging needs, which was of your love and affection. So, belonging needs. And third, growth needs, it includes self actualization and self-esteem. Means both upper needs come under your growth needs. So, this is how he has tried to club the hierarchy given by Maslow into the three components, which are existence, relatedness and growth. Then after this, third theory was given by Herzberg, which is your two-factor theory, known as Herzberg's two-factor theory of motivation. Herzberg said that there are two factors that brings motivation, and these two factors can be categorized as hygiene factors and motivators. Your hygiene factors includes company policies. Means these are hygiene factors that put an impact on the motivational level of an employee. Then supervision, what kind of supervision is given to the employees, then what kind of salary system does the company follow, and then lastly the working conditions. So, all these aspects come under your hygiene factors, and motivators include achievements, what all the person is achieving then and growing. This plays a great role in motivating the performance. Then your recognition, how his efforts are being recognized by the supervisors, responsibilities, and advancement. Means how his nature of work and skill set is advancing with time. So, Herzberg's two-factor theory means there are two broad factors which motivate an individual, which are your hygiene and your motivators. After this, another theory came, which was given by McClelland, which is known as your McClelland's achievement theory. Under this, he talked about three things and their relationship. One is your achievement, next is affiliation, and next is power. McClelland said that under achievement there comes tasks of moderate difficulty, which gives a person a sense of achievement. Then effort over luck, how much effort the person is ready to pay for achieving something, and also your positive feedback. All this comes under achievement. Then affiliation means focus on relations. In some manner, all these theories are actually revolving around those Maslow's needs. Now, here affiliation focuses on relations and avoiding conflicts. Obviously, the person who is more focused towards maintaining relationship, the person will avoid conflicts. Power includes desire to influence, and focus on accomplishing goals. Now, these are the three terms given by McClelland: achievement, affiliation and power. Your last content theory is the incentive theory. which directly shows a relationship that if the incentives or the rewards that you give to someone, if these are increased, then automatically performance will also increase. So, this incentive theory laid emphasis on the direct relationship between incentives and performance. So, this was all about content theories. Now, let us talk about the other category of theories, which include process theories. Under the process theories, the first one is expectancy theory. This says that there is a mental process involved in making choices. And this theory was given by Victor Vroom. Now, according to him, there are three components that affect the mental processes, which are: one is expectancy, two is your instrumentality, and last one is valence. Expectancy means, expectancy shows the relationship between effort and performance. Instrumentality shows the relationship between performance and outcome. And finally, valence shows the relationship between value of performance in relationship with rewards. So, these are the three terms given under the expectancy theory, which includes expectancy, instrumentality and valence. Another process theory that became quite popular for understanding the concept of motivation is your goal theory. Now, goal theory says that when a person is given some challenging goals, means goals that makes one quite engaging in making efforts that would help in better achievement of goals. So, challenging goals ultimately act as a motivator for improving performance. This was about goal theory. Then is your Adams equity theory. The last process theory is of Adams equity theory. It says that if an individual is given equitable treatment, means the persons who are working at similar level are treated equally and there is no scope of partiality, then it ultimately leads to improvement in performance. So, equity theory focuses on the way in which people are treated. Now, here we end with the theories of motivation. We studied about content theories as well as the process theories. Then one important concept related to motivation is your morale building. Many a terms this morale is misinterpreted as motivation. Means some people say that motivation and morale are quite similar, but actually morale describes, there is a difference. It describes an employee's state of attitudes, feelings and judgments about his work. Now this attitude and judgments can be about the work, about the peers with whom the person works, maybe supervisors or the entire organization. Means the person's state of attitude, feelings and judgment, what all a person thinks about his work, his peers, supervisors and the organization. So basically you need a leader to build morale. So the leader has to perform three major roles for morale building, which are your organizational roles, second is interpersonal roles, and lastly decisional roles. So a leader plays a very crucial role in morale building. So this is all about motivation.